Just one banner. Banner.
All right. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Westlake Tips for Applying to Scholarships and Top University Talk. Thank you so much, for tuning in. My name is Jin Han, and I myself am an alumni from Westlake. I studied all the way from year 8 to A levels, 2013 to 2018, and I'll be a moderator for today. I'm so excited. And so let me introduce to the speakers for today. Two key people who have been very involved in helping students like you, like me, to get into top universities. On my left is Mr. Reuben, and under me is Mr. Nathaniel Tan. So I'll briefly introduce them before we start off here. Our first speaker is Mr. Reuben Chan, who is the Deputy Director of Marketing Admissions at Westlake International School. He considered himself blessed to have had the privilege, actually, to interview students who have actually gone to top universities, for example, Oxford and Cambridge on scholarships. Our second speaker is Mr. Nathaniel Tan, who graduated from Harvard back in 2004 and was previously part of the local interview panel for applicants to go to Harvard. Over the years, he has helped a number of students to enter top universities around the world. So, if you have any questions directed to either of them or both of them, please comment right down below. We'll answer them shortly at our Q&A session on the second half of this talk. So, without further ado, let's start by having our first speaker, Mr. Reuben. Another fun fact about him is that he was on the STAR Scholarship interview panel for over a decade. So I'll pass my time to him, and he will share with you tips for applying to scholarship. Okay, Mr. Reuben, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Jinhan. And thank you for the intro, and special thanks also to Nat for taking your precious time to partner with me on this FB Live session. Yes, it's also a very good afternoon to everyone who has taken time to join us for this live session. So let me just move on to my slides here. Over the last 10 years, I have had the privilege to be on scholarship panels such as the STAR in Hsinchu and the Steadfast Association of Kuala Lumpur as well, where I had got the opportunity to shortlist and interview students who, sadly over the years, some of them do not make it because of many common mistakes and sometimes very unnecessary mistakes. So today I want to share with you some of my experience, and hopefully you won't make this mistake and you will have a better chance at getting scholarships. So I want to start by giving you a visual impression on the context, on the task of a person who shortlist students for scholarships. Okay. For example, once a year, I enter the STAR office for a couple of days and I am met with a piles of scholarship applications, and I have to sift through them fairly quickly in just a short time, and I have to shortlist about 10 students for interview. It is a very stressful and tiring process. And so if your applications are very disorganized or too filled up with certain certificates of participation since your year one for things like Hari Gotong Royong or something like that, I may miss out some of your more credible and more valuable achievements. So remember, it is always quality over quantity. Okay, you have to really focus on how to make your application stand out among all the others. And I don't mean by the thickness of your application. Okay, so hopefully this visual impression will give you some context to get into my tips. So let's start. First, I want you all to think and check out deadlines and prepare early. This is, I cannot stress how important this first tip is. Um, Many times, students, because of various reasons, they miss the deadlines and they are unable to apply for the scholarships. Okay, so I want to tell you all this. Don't wait till you get your results. All right. Just to give you an example, Star and Sinchu scholarships gives you about 2 weeks from the point of your results coming out before the deadline. And 2 weeks sometimes is not enough time for you to apply. So even as early as after your SPM or your IGCSE, already start to do your research. In fact, your research should be done even before then. Start to put in your work on your personal statement of entry, go to your school to get your testimonials, do everything as much as you can. Don't let your results uh, dictate. Like once you get your good results, then you decide, oh, okay, I'm good enough to apply for the scholarship. Uh, don't do that. I remember one that many years ago, I had one student who actually got into Yale, and um, I talked to him, and I found out he already decided at a very early age, I think as early as Form 4, that he wanted to apply for Yale, and he already did his best, looking and preparing 2 years in advance for his application to uni. And that's sometimes what it takes. You do have to apply really, really early, okay? So the saddest things I hear from students is this, sir, I missed the deadline. It doesn't matter how many A's you have or how good your curriculum resume is. If you miss the deadline, you miss it. So, of course, there are sometimes some organization may exercise grace, but those are the exception, not the norm. So don't procrastinate and take a gamble on your future. Okay. Now, next, you have to understand scholarship schemes. Uh, there are scholarships that are based on merit, and then there are some scholarships that are based on need. So let me give you an example. The Star Scholarship Fund is based mostly on need. All right, which means if you get a student who has 12 A's, okay, in his or her SPM or IGCSE exams, but the parents are both CEOs earning $500,000 a year, and these students have two mates that serve him or her, and this student only has to worry about going to tuition on time versus another student who has maybe 8 A's but comes from a single family, a working mom with and three younger siblings that this student have to take care of and help with the house chores as well as with the siblings. Who do you think will get the scholarship? All right, if it's based on need, all right. However, if it's based on merit, so for example, Westlake's scholarship program is based on merit, uh, and if you meet the A's, you qualify. So for example, if you get 6 A's, 7 A's, 8 A's, or 9 A's, it doesn't matter your parents because it is based on merit. All right, so it's based on yourself. So it's important for you to really, the main point here is all scholarships have a reasons for their existence. Okay, whether it's for corporate social responsibility or to attract good students to come, or because they want to bond you and to work for you to work with them after you finish your studies. All scholarship has a reason for their existence, and it's important for you to know and read up on it so that you know what is the best scholarship to apply for that will meet your requirements. Okay. Now, speaking of being bonded, it's good to get a conditional offer letter to enter a top universities. Many GLC companies, big companies that offer scholarships, very attractive scholarships, they will want to offer their scholarship to candidates who already have offers to enter top universities, conditional offers, because they want to bond you after your studies. Okay, so you need to first get an offer from these top universities. Then you can go and say, hi, I got an offer to enter Oxford or Cambridge. I got no money. Who wants to offer me a scholarship? I will work with you or give 5 years of my life to you after I finish my studies. You cannot say, or it's going to be a lot harder to do, to say, hi, please give me a scholarship. I don't know where I'm going yet. I got no offer. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I got good results. Give me a scholarship. A little bit hard. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Okay. So For example, Bank Negara, you can get this off the website of Bank Negara. Okay, they list down for you specific universities. You have to get into these universities for these specific courses before you can even apply for their scholarships. So sometimes I tell students to work the other way around. If you want to get better chances at getting scholarships, you have to be very careful in how you strategize what courses you want to apply for, what universities you want to enter, because it affects greatly your chances of getting these big scholarships. Okay. Um, so having said that, it is also important to strategize early on, right after your IGCSE or your SPM, what to do next. You have to choose wisely the right pre-U programs for yourself. If you want to keep your options open and have a chance to apply for more top universities around the world, then I highly recommend you look at A level, because it is really your global passport to enter many other universities. It's the strategy that you want to have. Okay, it is without doubt the global passport to enter both local and international institutions of higher learning. So you have to really choose your pre-U programs carefully. And speaking of that, picking your pre-use universities carefully, you also all need to pick an institution, not just to do A levels, but when you where you do the A levels, you need to make sure you have an institution that can really support you to get the A's. And here I would like to just shamelessly give a shout out to my WIS alumni who got their really good results. They have really made us proud over the years, and not just in getting into good, not just getting the good grades, but also to get top universities such as Yale, NUS, and NTU. And they didn't just do it with having good grades. That's just half the story. They also had to do it with their curriculum activities. And this brings me to my next point, which is academic consistency is very important. But there must also be balance in your curriculum activity. I remember there was one boy, one of my students as well, some years ago. He had the audacity to came and tell me, "Sir, I don't want to do any of the curriculum activities. I don't need. If I get straight A's, any universities will gladly accept me." This is what he actually said. I said, "No way, please, no way." He actually got 4 A stars for his A level. Not surprising to me, his UCAS application, he did not get any of his choice in his UCAS because he didn't have balance. All right, which is kind of a shame. So it is very important. You do have to remember that as brilliant as you are, you need to have good curriculum activities. Okay, and that will help you balance. So I want to encourage students to look at community service, volunteerism. These are very important things that one needs to look for, especially after you finish your SPM. If you've not done it before your SPM or IGCSE, you should really look at that as well. And because these will help you with the extracurricular activities will help broaden your mind. It will develop your soft skills, your leadership skills, the teamwork, and this is will be very important because you need to show evidence of this when you apply for scholarships. Okay, that is why at Westlake, from the early years to A levels, we have a strong emphasis on our career and character education program. All right, these soft skills, such we develop and we put an emphasis on life and social skills and our emotional and mental well-being, the school skills you need to really have to succeed, and plotting for your future. These are all real building blocks that we want to make sure that the students have to really help them to develop them. So these soft skills takes time to develop. It is not an overnight thing, but this is very necessary if one wants to stand out in the crowd of all the scholarship applications. All right. So at this point, allow me to digress a little bit because I want to share with you a little bit about our special scholarships that we have with one of our partners. Um, Over the years, we have developed a number of programs with external partners such as the Duke of Edinburgh. We have partners with Utah and UTP, and we really develop this number of programs with our external partners to leverage on their strengths. An example of this collaboration is our Oxford International College partner. Okay, over the years, we have been able to work with them on a number of projects, such as the OIC revision workshops, the STEM projects. And from this, our A-level students have benefited from going for the Global Space Design Challenge in UK to having access to the OIC Online Academy as well. And from from this, we the OIC saw the holistic qualities of our students, and they have awarded an exclusive scholarship to our students at WIS. It's called the Oxford International College Westlake International School Scholarship Awards. We're very proud of this. Since we are on the topic of scholarships, I just wanted to share this with you. So I want to stress that you have to have strong balance between academic and curriculum resume to really stand out. And that's why at our A levels program as well, academic section is just one section of our emphasis. All right. We have equal emphasis also on our extracurricular programs, such as supporting and guiding our students to take the EPQ. This is a big project that really gives our students the confidence to go on to apply for top universities. And at the same time, we also have the super curriculum programs. An example of this is our career navigation program that opens up opportunities for our students to expose themselves to potential areas of studies and work in the future. All this gives our students enough exposure to be able to draw from their experience to really put it in their personal essay. And that comes to my next point here. Draw from your own personal experience to build your personal essay. And this is very important because your personal essay needs to be really personal. You have to tell your story. All right. I was sharing at the beginning of my presentation that there is a when I first did the scholarship application, there's a pile of applications waiting for me. And in the first year, I still remember I said to myself, the pile was like really high, and I was like saying, okay, to cut it down, I will all those with 8 A's or less, I will take it away. The pile just went from here to here. Almost everybody else, more than two-thirds, had 8 A's and above. I wasn't able to really shortlist it down. I said, okay, all those with good curriculum activities, I'll keep them. And then it went down substantially, okay, maybe to about half or less. But there's still more than twice the amount. I only need 10, but there is, what do you call this, a lot more that I need to shortlist. And so uh, what really stand out is the personal essay. It is through the personal essay that you really get to know the applicant. All right. Um, yes. So what should you do? So I want to give you some of my tips on this, which is here. Uh, First, for me, avoid quotes and cliches. All right. Um, there was there was one year. I don't know why this was very popular in the Star Scholar application that I was reading. Every maybe four essays, I read this quote: "Shoot for the moon. If I don't reach it, I land among the stars," or something like that. It don't put in quotes for the sake of putting it. It doesn't make you smart. It's very cliche and cringy, to be honest. It shows lack of depth. Don't write the obvious. What do I mean by don't write the obvious? Many students like to write in their application, I deserve this scholarship because I got 10 A's in my SPM or my IGCSE. I'm like, you don't have to waste line telling me you got 10 A's. I can see that in your application, in your result slip, the page before that. So you're wasting space. All right. Is your essay interchangeable or not? What do I mean by that? If I swap your name for somebody else's name, does it work? Does the essay still works for that person? Then it's not personal enough if it can. All right. Your essay must be specific to the organization as well as to you. And so don't copy and paste. Because if you do and you make mistakes, you end up with this. I'll show you an example. This is an actual example of one of my students. All right. Started off with first, I would like to thank the Star Education Fund and ended up with saying, lastly, I wish to thank Sinchu Education Fund. This is really embarrassing and really bad for the students. But this also reflects something that is very bad from the students, which is the student didn't take enough time to really check through the application and didn't invest enough time to really take the application seriously. And so this will bode very bad for you. All right, which comes to my next point, which is why should we invest in you if you don't invest in yourself? This is something that the student must really think about. As people who are going to give you the scholarship, in their mindset, in my mindset, is that I'm going to give you money, I'm going to invest in your life. I'm going to, hopefully, you'll be somebody that will make us proud. And if you see that you don't put enough time and effort in your application in what you want to do, you say you want to do, then we don't know whether this scholarship you want to give you is a good investment on you. All right. So basic things. Read carefully. Read everything carefully. The terms and conditions, the instructions, and all this. Make sure all the sections are filled up correctly. Make sure you get someone to check your work carefully. Otherwise, you may end up like an example. Your father is a CEO and your mother is a leg tutor. Okay, basic mistakes like this you have to really watch out for. Okay, uh, and finally, prepare extensively for your interview, which is also goes to the same point, which is to invest, take time and really invest in your interview. All right, research extensively about the scholarship, about the organization before you go for the interview. Research extensively about your own ambitions, about your pathways, the entry requirements, the cost, the duration. It really is a put off whenever we interview people and they say they want to be a doctor or engineer or whatever it is. And when we ask them simple questions like, what is the entry requirement? How many grades, how many A's you need to get in what subject? And the students cannot even answer these questions. What is your plan B? If you don't want to do this or you cannot enter this, what is next for you? This all comes down to we're investing in your life. Is it something that what you want to do? Is it something that's realistic? There are many students who have gone in the interview, went in and said, when I asked them, all right, how much does your parents earn? And they said, oh, my parents earn very little. And I said, okay, do you know how much a medical degree will cost? Oh, so I don't know, but if I study very hard, I do very well, I will get a scholarship. Okay, where, how much, what? Oh, so if I do study very hard, I'll do very well, I'll get a scholarship. Uh, these kind of students, I can guarantee you won't get a scholarship. All right, even though their results can be very good. All right, so you have to really research. All right, and be careful in some of your answers. Try not to do negative selection as an answer. What do I mean by negative selection? When we ask you why are you taking this course, I'm taking this course because I don't like this course. Many students, have you heard? I'm choosing accounting because I don't like chemistry, physics, bio, and maths. I cannot do this. This is what I call negative selection, which you have to be careful of, all right? Or things like, I'm studying this because my father owns this business and I want to do this. We are investing in your life. So it is something that we want to make sure that you are passionate on, you have a real interest in. So just watch out for these kind of things, okay? And standard questions that may or may not be asked of you, you still need to prepare. The most basic question will be, tell us something about yourself. Give us something about your background. Okay? Um, all these kinds of questions will more or less surely be asked in some form or another. And if you don't prepare, many times I've seen students, when I ask them the question, tell us something about yourself. And I can see in their face, this is the first time they thought about it. That is really bad. You should have already scripted and write down and be prepared for these kind of basic questions in one form or another so that it gives you an opportunity to shine. It's a blank check for you to be able to say whatever you need to say. It can calm you down as well, and sometimes they use that. So some of these questions I put it out here, like not necessary questions that may be asked of you, but you should prepare for it nonetheless. Okay, so questions like, out of all the candidates, why should we pick you? Do you know why? What do you know about our organization? How can you contribute to it? What or who inspires you? Why? Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? What frustrates you, and what has been the biggest struggle in your life? Tell me about your strengths and weaknesses. Why did you apply for these scholarships? What is the most important lessons you have learned in life? What are your big accomplishments or regret in life? Why? How would you have done things differently? A lot of these questions are very self-reflective, which should be things that you have prepared for and you should think you have thought through. And if any of these questions is asked of you and you've prepared for it, it will give you a big boost, okay, in terms of your preparation. Okay, and one of the last things in the interview, very standard things also, be prepared to ask questions. Many times the interview will end by asking you, the interviewer will end by asking you, do you have any questions for us? Uh, I'll give you a tip. Please do not ask this question. Okay. And that question, which is one of the most common questions I have received in my 10 years of doing this, is, Sir, when will the results of this scholarship come out? Okay, it shows that you have not prepared well for this interview. If you have researched well, it is again a blank check, an opportunity for you to be able to ask questions that can showcase how well prepared you are for this interview. All right, so please don't ask that question. All right, when will the results come out? Everybody else will have probably asked that question as well. So convince your interviewer that you will be someone whom they will be proud of one day, and it also helps if you have read about current events and you're able to give your opinions on this. It shows maturity as well. And finally, please do not lie. Many times we can catch you in a lie, but we won't be so rude to tell you that you are lying. Of course, we'll go through all the whole works with you, but very often if we catch a person who is really lying, this person may be very good, but we may not give the scholarship to the students as well. Because if you don't have integrity at the beginning, why would we give you the scholarship to move on? All right. Again, it's an investment in your life. Sometimes I would advise students is, if you caught yourself telling a lie, it might be better to just say, excuse me, just now the answer that I gave, I like to retract it on a second thought. Uh, Actually, it should be like this. It is actually more impressive sometimes to show that you have a conscience and you are able and humble enough to correct yourself even in mid course of the interview. All right, that shows actually greater character to me. So yeah, so these are the few tips I have for you. And just to end my talk, all right, I'd like to share an inspirational story about uh, this boy. His name is Chung Jin. I got his permission to share about him. He came from a very humble background. Both his parents are blind, and he himself is, I think, 80% blind in one eye. And he came to me saying that when he applied for the Star Scholarship, I was on the interview panel, and he said he wanted to be a doctor. Wow. There are many other people with higher abilities that would be very afraid, but he was very passionate and he was very determined, really, really determined boy, and very humble as well. And so he took he really tried really hard, and after I think 5 years, of course, he has did it. He put on his Facebook, med school, check, and it's done. He got the scholarship, and I'm really proud of him. And I want to share this story to you just as a inspiration to you all, as my final note to you all, to tell you all that no matter who you are, um, don't sell yourself short. You can do it. Um, you just need to work really hard and apply and prepare and research, just like this boy. And if you do it and if you try at least and you knock on those doors, who knows? If you research enough and you may find a scholarship that nobody else applied for, you may get it as well. So I want to just leave this story with you as my final point to my section of it. So with that, I'm going to pass the time back to Marcus, Jinhan. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Reuben. That was really, really, really insightful, even for me as well. So, all right, now I'll go over to our second speaker, Nathaniel Tan. And all right, I'll just start the ball, rolling by asking, what do students, who go to top universities or graduate from there have in common?
Hi, Jihan. Thanks very much, and thanks for the opportunity. Thanks, Reuben. Is it okay if I start from a slightly different place? I'll talk a little bit about what I think these schools are looking for, generally, or how best to prepare. What kind of characteristics. Is that okay? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So first of all, again, I'm sorry I don't have fancy slides like Reuben. I enjoyed this presentation. It's all the all the sharings that he shared from his experiences, I think, are quite valuable. It's again from someone who does them a lot and who's been there, who knows, who's actually helped to make those decisions. So I'd encourage most of you to pay careful attention now. Right, so I worked with students a little bit more who are applying to universities like the Ivy Leagues, Stanford, MIT, Oxbridge, those kind of schools, preparing how to write essays and things like that. So here are some of my thoughts about how to think about the application process, or how to approach it, what I think is valuable or important. I have to be a bit of a disclaimer. It's not like I know this as a perfect science, or these things are, I mean, how these admissions committees make decisions are carefully kept secrets, and I don't have any personal experience or insight in exactly how those things are. I'm a little bit also from the outside looking in, but also based on my experience of like what students are like, where I went to school, what my experiences were like, and over the years seeing who gets in and who doesn't. But I think it's also important to not only just think about how do I get in, it's a little bit more about how do I become a good applicant. And becoming a good applicant is you develop skills, or you develop yourself in a way that's good for you, whether or not you get in or not at the end. There's these things, there's always an element of chance, there's an unpredictability to it, so don't get too obsessed about that. That's not the only important thing in life. But these things I want to talk about today hopefully will be important to you regardless of what happens with your university applications. Okay, so I think first of all, in terms of applications and admissions, I think a useful way to think of it is, Reuben talked about investments, right? So when a school decides to admit you, or is making the decision on whether to admit you or not, it's also a question of like, who should we invest in? These schools, like, what makes a school famous? Is it because Harvard is so famous because it's famous, or it's so clever because everyone there is clever? But it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. These schools are famous and they become prestigious because of the quality of their graduates. Where, you might want to mute the other one just in case. There's some background noise, I think, from Reuben's side. Thanks. So, so just, again, these schools are prestigious because of what their graduates have gone on to do. If a graduate of a school becomes, if like suddenly, if tomorrow you find, or in the next few years, you find that people from Westlake have gone on to do really great and amazing things, then the name of Westlake becomes very prestigious, right? Then people say, oh, this is a very good school, and then more and more people want to go. So it's a lot about, again, trying to, so in a sense, a lot about what the admissions process is a bit of like a prediction game. I'm going to look at all these applicants, right? And I'm going to try and choose from among them, who do I think is the most likely to go out and really shake the world? Who's going to go out and do great things and, make the world a better place, be impactful, have a very positive impact on the world, right? So that's kind of like how you should maybe think about their decision-making process, right? And I think my best guess is that, if you had to summarize how they want to do it, it's a process of extrapolation. All of you study maths, right? You know what extrapolating a graph is, right? They're going to look at the graph of your life, for here to here to here over the last few years, whatever. And then from where you've gone so far, they're going to try and extrapolate where you're going to go, right? So they're going to look at your qualities, your characteristics, your character, your results, whatever. And I'm going to say, okay, my best guess is this person will go in this direction, all right? So I think that's the first important point I want to make, and that's how you should think about it. So from their point of view, it's an extrapolation process, right? They're going to look at your life experiences, they're going to look at your abilities, how you express yourself, how you describe yourself, and then they're going to try and extrapolate from there. All right, so again, that's one and first most important thing. All right, secondly, I'm going to talk about 3 qualities that I feel I think most valuable, or if I were the one making decisions, which I'm not usually, but if I were the one, these are the 3 things that I would probably look for the most, right? In terms of, again, trying to determine and trying to extrapolate who is going to go out there and make a big change in the world, who's going to do something great, who's going to like mengharumkan nama baik sekolah lah, bring fame and prestige to my school. 3 things. The first is intellectual curiosity. The second is impactfulness, and the third is character. Right. So again, and I'm going to go through this one by one. Once again, no slides. I only got fingers. Sorry. So intellectual curiosity, impactfulness, character. 3 things. All right. So let's start a little bit with intellectual curiosity. Right. So those kind of people who like make groundbreaking scientific discoveries. Who who just invent crazy new powerful things, develop new theories, things like that. I think they were all good at school. I think what the famous example, I think Einstein was the one who, Albert Einstein was like famously bad at school, bad results, didn't do well, that sort of thing. So I mean, of course, good results in school is one predictor, but it's not the only predictor, and it's probably not the best predictor, like, if you ask me, although most schools tend to just take results, it's easier standard, right? But I find that the best predictor of like intellectual ability comes down to like fire, passion, and curiosity. Have you ever talked to somebody, right, who's so excited about a certain issue or topic they're talking about? It's like you can feel the fire in their eyes. And the guy's going a little bit insane, like he's so excited and he's like talking about it like this, and there's a very infectious kind of like enthusiasm. I mean, it could be anything. It could be like, oh, Liverpool, or it could be, politics, or it could be science. It doesn't matter, but there's a certain fire and passion with which they talk about it. Those are the kind of people that I feel, if I had to make a prediction, it's like, these are the kind of people that will pursue something until they find the answer. And that's very important. The kind of skills that you need to pass an exam are not the same kind of skills you need to discover a new element, or to change the world of physics. These are slightly different skills. I mean, you need the knowledge that they test you for at exams, but you need a passion and a drive. If you ever like stayed up late into the night just going down a rabbit hole trying to find answers to a topic, researching something, googling until you cannot rest, you cannot sleep, you cannot feel at ease until you found the answer, and you reading, digging, just going further and further. That's the kind of character trait, I think, that the people who eventually, like, who's going to cure cancer one day, who's going to like find a vaccine for COVID, it's people who have that kind of passion and who are willing to who are just, like I said, they can't sit still until they found the answer. That's the kind of thing you need. So if you want, hopefully, I wouldn't say it is the kind of thing that's entirely like you're born with it or you're not. I don't believe in that kind of thing, but it is important. Some people have it more than others, but if you want to develop yourself into that kind of person, you can. Right? One of the easiest, most simplest ways is to sort of like always be curious, always be asking, right? Like you have to look and observe the world around you all the time and try and think about, like, why is this like that? What makes this work? Always asking these questions, right? We're having this live stream, Facebook Live kind of thing, right? So like, how does it work actually? I've got a camera in my computer and it's like turning things into ones and zeros, transmitting it over the internet, and broadcasting it to the whole. How do these things work? My phone, my computer has got all this, like, if I break it open, there's all these diodes, there's all this like transistor, all this kind of thing. How do those things work? What do they do? How do the 1 and 0 change into like electrical current? I mean, if you're that kind of person, you should be asking these kind of questions, like, you're transmitting live on Facebook. Who owns Facebook? What has the impact of Facebook been over the years? How is it changing the world? Is it an ethical thing? What are the issues and controversies that have arisen with Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg and all this kind of things? Some people say he's the most powerful man in the world. Google is also very big, but Google is owned by multiple people. Facebook is just about as big as well, but it's only owned primarily by one guy. They own WhatsApp. Do you know that? So all your messages, this kind of thing, is it safe? Can people at Facebook read them? This kind of questions, like, simple things like, there's a fan behind me, right? That nobody really likes in the background, but helps to keep me cool. It's very difficult to move. So how does that fan work? Why is it designed this way? All this, the mechanism, simple things like, we're talking now in English, right? Why is English the such a widely spoken word? Why do we wear shirts with collars? What is the purpose of your collar? What is this thing on your baju? Does it serve any purpose? Have you ever spent time to think about that? People wear shirts, they often will wear ties. Why on earth in Malaysia do you wear ties for? Ties, I imagine, are there to like keep your neck warm if you live in cold country. Why the hell would I need to wear? I don't know why Reuben is wearing a jacket, and maybe he's cool, but he does look quite handsome in it. This must be said. So anyway, these kind of questions, like, right? So if you're talking about intellectual curiosity, you have to always look around the world and always be able to ask a million questions about anything that your eyes fall on. All right. Now, and as far as intellectual development goes, if I could only give you one piece of advice, well, ask questions about everything. Like, I could only give you two pieces of advice. Second piece of advice is read Wikipedia every single day. If you read Wikipedia every single day, I can be fairly sure you won't grow up to be stupid. You may not grow up to be clever, but I'm pretty sure you won't grow up to be stupid. It's a great resource. If the kind of intellectual, like, passionate people, they always find whatever article in Wikipedia they read, they find another link to another article, then they click on this, click on that, and just whatever, and it doesn't matter what you're interested in. I have a slight Dota addiction. I've been playing for how many years already, So, but even a game like that, when you look at this, how does a game work? How is it developed? Why are there orcs? Who was the first person who thought of an orc? How is this game designed to make it very addictive to you? What kind of like psychology things do they take into consideration when they design? How you make a team of 5 people, this kind of thing. So again, intellectual curiosity. Okay, sorry, that's probably enough yapping about that. So ask questions about everything. Always be curious and read Wikipedia every day. Awesome stuff, right? Second is impactfulness, right? So again, we talked about okay, maybe I talk about okay, we go in order. Impactfulness, right? So I was telling you the extrapolation, right? They're trying to see who's going to have a big impact on the world. One of the simplest ways to extrapolate or predict is for someone who's going to have a big impact on the world in the future is to see what kind of impact they've had on the world now. If you're one of the kind of people who's like believe, oh, I'm just a kid, I can't change the world around me. Kids change the world all the time, we see it happen all over the place. Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder, but this it's age is not really an excuse. And impact is really about making the most of the opportunities that you have. Some have more opportunities, some have less opportunity, but I'm quite sure that 99.9999% of people have some opportunity or another, whether it's this kind of opportunity or that kind of opportunity, but everybody has an opportunity to impact the world around them and change the world for the better. I mean, it's, people always talk about leadership, right? Leadership skills, blah, blah, blah. Oh, what is leadership? I think about these kind of questions a lot. And I think one of the things that I find interesting way to think about leadership is you're a leader if like something happens because of you. And if there was no you, that thing wouldn't happen. If you're that kind of person, then you're a leader, and you're a person who has an impact. Because of you, this thing happened. Without you, this thing wouldn't have happened. So try and do things like in the world, whatever it's like. I mean, there's all the small normal things you can go and visit old folks' homes, orphanages, help out, raise money for people. There's small things, but there are also like much bigger things you can do, just have an impact, make a change. You see something that's wrong, or maybe your apartment got no recycling, change it. Find a way to change it. Your school this thing a certain way. You think it's not efficient. You think it's not good, or there's a problematic issues. Change it now. Find a way to change it. Have an impact on the world around you. Very important. So that when you come to your application, you say, "Oh, this is the impact that I've had around on the world around me." And then I look at it and say, "Oh, quite impactful, this person." I think there's a very good chance they'll go on further and make. They make use of these small opportunities. More likely means they'll make use of even bigger opportunities, right? So that's a fairly reasonable extrapolation to make. Have an impact. All right. The third thing is character. What I usually talk about is character. I think the best way to summarize this is that I'm pretty sure I think it's fair to say 100% of people face some sort of challenge in their lives, right? Some people are going to face smaller challenges. Some people face much bigger challenges. It's also, I think we can say with 100% certainty, and not many things we can say 100% certainty, but I think we can say 100% certainty that going forward in your life, you're also going to face more challenges, more difficulties. Even if, or especially if you end up going to one of these like really big, super good schools, right? So the only question is, right? I mean, if it's a certainty that you'll face challenges and difficulties and suffering and all this kind of thing, the question is, how are you going to react to them? How are you going to respond to them? How well are you going to do in the face of these challenges, right? So once again, if I want to extrapolate, I want to predict, I just look at the way that you've overcome the challenges that you faced so far. Whatever difficulty, maybe you come from a poor family, maybe you've had a disability, or maybe, again, everyone has their own challenges, some bigger, some smaller, right? But it's important that you have an ability and a certain strength of character, certain emotional maturity to face these kind of things and face them well, and to the kind of person that doesn't give up easily, that can pick themselves up after a setback, these kind of things. This gives I think the person who's reviewing your application an idea like, oh, okay, this person can tahan, they are resilient, they can come back from challenges, and they don't give up easily. I mean, you don't discover things, you don't make groundbreaking inventions or whatever, or build like super successful companies, if you sort of like waver at the first sign of trouble, or you just like give up very easily, that kind of thing. So it's important to show again a strength of character, emotional maturity. Okay, that's me yapping for about like 15 minutes already. I think that's more than enough for now lah. So remember, this whole thing is a lot about extrapolation. Remember that, to prepare. And again, I think these are good skills, independent of whether you like apply or don't apply, whether you're successful in the application or not. Jinhan asked me about what they have in common, so maybe I'll talk a little bit about that. So I mean, all these things lah. Like I said, the intellectual curiosity for sure. You always see that in a lot of graduates from this kind of schools. They are. I mean, what does smart mean when you always talk about smart? What does smart mean? Smart means people tend to see things very quickly. They tend to be able to ask the right questions, and even if they don't know answer, first of all, they admit that they don't know answer. It's very important. You have to, you don't pretend, don't bluff your way through, right? But they know where to find answers to questions. That's very important, right? They have a certain way of thinking about things that is why they always, the other thing about intellectual curiosity is very important is intellectual dexterity. I forgot to mention earlier. It's important that you be able to see things from different angles. If you're the kind of person who always only believe one thing and never have like never, and everyone else answer is nonsense, or everyone else who disagree with you is full of crap. This is not the kind of people who graduate from schools seldom to never think like this. They always have an open mind. They say, "Oh, okay, I understand from this point of view." You look at it like this, and you understand. You're always curious about why people think the way they think. This person has this opinion probably because of this background, or they're coming from this kind of like school of thought or training and this kind of thing. So that's important. So that's very, very common, and they tend to be very driven, very self-motivated. They always ambitious. They have their goals. They want to do big and important things. It's also a very common trait. Yeah. So to answer the original question a little bit, but yeah. So coming back again, yeah. Extrapolation, and then intellectual curiosity. Always be asking questions. Always be curious. Wikipedia every day. Have an impact on the world around you, and develop strong character lah. Don't give up. Hang in there, get help when you need it, admit when you need help, and don't be shy to ask, and just be, find good mature role models and try to approach life the way they approach life lah. Okay, enough from me. Thank you very much.
Lots of words, but yeah, like that is so on point. Like I mean myself I was also taking notes lah. But yeah, thank you so much for the points. Okay, right now we are halfway mark. We'll be officially entering into the Q&A session. Okay, so
Yeah,
all right. So
yeah, Marcus. Yeah, just so that the audience know as well. You could ask them to key in their questions on our Facebook chat box here, and we'll be able to see it and take questions there. But I actually we did a pre-registration before the event, and there are actually about 6 or 7 questions here. I can see on the pre-registration box, and let me maybe just go through it and see from some of our registered viewers to see whether there are any of these questions we have not taken. First question was how to increase chance of getting need-based scholarships. I think I for Joyce I've covered that pretty extensively. If you want to know any more specifics, you can type on your questions at below. What qualities do interviewers look for in an ideal applicant? I think Nat, you covered that very extensively. Yeah, and that really helps. Does the subjects chosen affect the difficulties of getting scholarships? Not maybe not so much subjects, but as I mentioned, the course that you took may affect you. I remember there was one student, one girl, she got into, I believe it was Oxford for philosophy and psychology. And unfortunately, not many GLC companies are looking for a philosophy and psychology and philosophy grad. Uh, so she really had a tough time looking for scholarships for that. So I believe the courses you take also makes a lot of difference in terms of your opportunities for scholarships. Um, My daughter is currently in Form 4. I want to know what to expect for applying for scholarships and top universities. I think we covered that, but um, Ned, maybe we could ask you, going forward, because of this COVID-19 and this MCO, do you think universities will change up some of their criteria for applications or things? What do you think moving forward? Uh, just your opinion. What do you think? Will the criteria change in a couple of years' time because of everything that we're going through now?
I'm really not an expert on this and have little to no qualified information or special information on this. Maybe I will just very quickly something I forgot to mention. You know, most of the top schools. I haven't checked this out recently, so please Google and find more up to date information than I have. But schools like Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford, MIT, they tend to give need blind financial aid to anybody who gets in. So and there are probably more school including international students. So there are probably more schools. You Google, there's a whole list of schools who have that policy, which means it doesn't matter how rich or poor you are, as long as you get in, they'll make sure that they'll find a way for you to be able to afford and pay for your education there. Whether the COVID crisis and all that will affect all this, I'm not sure. We'll have to like Google and keep abreast of the news. These schools tend to be better funded, and some of them are better funded than small countries lah. So you can weather these kind of storms not better than many of us. But as to how things are going to change with the pandemic and all that, I'm afraid I haven't been following that closely. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, yeah. The boy that I mentioned about that got into Yale. Yes, I remember the the officer from Yale came and he said that if once we select the students based purely on the merits of the students, and after they selected the students, only they figure out whether the student has any money to pay to study. And he said even if they cannot afford the pencils, we'll pay for the pencils as well. So that was the first time I remembered. Wow, okay, Yale has a lot of money to give even to international students. Yeah. Okay, we have a Marcus, why don't you read the questions? We have one question here from Joyce as well.
All right. Okay. All right. When writing a personal essay for scholarship, how would a typical need-based scholarship committee rank the priorities of the below content? All right. So she lists down 5 things. 1, passion for the cause. 2, passion to make an impact. 3, soft skills. 4, CCA. 5 is future career plan.
Okay, since this is on need-based scholarship, I think uh, for me it doesn't. It's really hard to say in this area which ranks higher. There are certain. So I'll give you an example between Star and Sinchu. Sinchu would give both are need-based, but I will tell you that I know Sinchu puts a lot higher priority on needs than anything else. At least this is my opinion when I used to do it. I've not been in touch with them for some time, so may have changed, may not, but when I was doing it, I remember they put need based very high over anything else. But in terms of passion for the cause, passion to make an impact on skill society, future career plans, uh, it's very subjective to be able to say that. It also depends on how so for example, passion to make an impact, it's much more impactful if you actually show an impact than to write about your passion for an impact. I think that was what Nat was talking about, right? People who actually have already made an impact in certain things they do. So it's, I think, more importantly than writing it is to show that you have made some impact, which is why I emphasize on community service and volunteerism as a very important thing. Yeah. Ned, do you have anything you want to add on to it?
You know, the Reuben is a bit more experienced dealing with certain type of applications. I deal with a slightly different type of application, so I'm not sure. Not sure what you were referring to. But for the US schools, I mean, I don't know whether this is that related, but you can think of your application as one big one big picture, and different parts of your application form different parts of the picture. So like Reuben said, if some information is already available in some parts of your application, then there's no need to repeat it, right? And the personal essay is, of course, I agree, Reuben, that it's a very important and it's the most colorful and interesting part of the application to me. I don't always know how other people look at these things, but yeah. So you just kind of strategize, right? If your application is this one, so this part of your application focuses on this, that part of your application focuses on this, and as a whole, it gives you as full of a picture of yourself as a candidate as possible. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Jocelyn, for asking the question, and then thanks for answering. Thanks for answering the question also. Do you mind if I ask some questions of my own?
Sure, of course.
All right. Okay. All right. So like, oh no, what can you suggest? For especially students, who is actually struggling to find a role model or mentor, who can guide them on.
Well, it's a interesting and challenging question. I mean, of course, for people in real life and things like that, people, I'm not sure how to answer it. It kind of depends on who you know and who you have access to. But
Exactly.
I mean, there are another two levels. First of all, is there's a whole world, right? I mean, the whole globe in the past, dead or alive kind of thing. There's a lot of people whose lives you can read about and learn from and things like that. And of course, don't idolize people too much, right? I mean, everybody is human and everyone has made mistakes and have their own failings. Sometimes it's sometimes you put people on a pedestal and think, oh, they're so superhuman and I'm so lowly,
Yeah.
Oh, everybody is human and went through their own kind of things and have their own shortcomings. If there are people a bit more closer to you that you don't know yet, but would like to get to know, I mean, sometimes be brave, be bold, just approach them, find a way to get an email or social media or something like that, get in touch. And some of them may be a bit busy, whatever, but just try and get in touch if you find that helpful, if you find it important to or inspirational or motivating or beneficial to you to interact with this kind of people, then be aggressive, or just go to events where they are speaking, approach them, speak up and step forward, that kind of thing.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So also another question. I just want to firstly also want to ask anything to encourage, especially youngsters like me. Honestly, right now, what I'm feeling is just that we are stuck. It's like I'm stuck in my room, and everyone is just so uncertain, especially youngsters also. And we have we see things that we want to make an impact, but there's that fear, there's that thing that's just holding us back. So is that Nathaniel, I think I want to direct to Nathaniel. Do you have anything to say to encourage the youngsters like me and viewers who's watching this also?
Sure. I mean, I hope I don't wander too far off topic or make anyone nervous or anything like that. But I work with a small NGO that we started quite recently. It's called Project Wawasan Rakyat, Power for short. And we did a lot of work at MCO. And in that time, we relied a lot on volunteers. I ended up needing a lot of help just to keep things it was just to keep things organized and running smoothly, to keep our Facebook, Twitter running, stuff like that. It's almost like secretarial work and stuff, but it is work that's not hard to do if you're quite smart. If you know your way around Google Drive and Google Docs and things, Excel, all that, you can be helpful and useful. If you can manage WhatsApp and you're responsive, you're quick, and just help me or help to call people once in a while. This is very simple things, but it was I had a few people who they were not students, they were a bit older, but they were also quite young and didn't have experience doing these things before, but they just wanted to help, during MCO time, to get food to people who are having trouble getting food and or support for frontliners for childcare, things like that. And they were immense help. I really couldn't have done it without the help of these volunteers. And they're
Right.
people like you probably could have helped play a role. We still got work to do. It's a slightly different type of work. But if you're interested, I can always use free labor and don't worry. So they're always ways to help and get involved. It's and I mean, I there's one like kid that one guy that is no longer a kid. He started working with me when he was, I think, about 16. It's a bit of a different case. It's a bit of a genius kid or something, right? But yeah, I saw he was like writing like these really long, mature essays on the internet. Like he was like 30 years old or something like that, but it's a 16-year-old kid. So yeah, he decided to work together. I mean, you mentioned earlier before we started the books that I published. This guy did most of the work. His name is John Lee, and he did most of the real work for those books. I just sort of like that, I do this, do that, and overview the thing. But so they're capable. Age is not a barrier in that regard. So develop skills if you're good at writing. Understand basic tools. Like 90% of my work is done over WhatsApp and Google Drive. So if you're familiar with those things, you can be useful. So sorry, but coming back to your to your main question, it's difficult, it's challenging. Some MCO and all this kind of stuff, but we are more connected and more technologically driven than we've ever been. So there's always ways to make a difference, make an impact. Just got to get out there, approach people, tell people, hey, I want to help, have a CV or something, maybe if that's helpful, or you just convince them that you're capable, that you're driven, that you're sincere, and you're willing to help, and you're willing to work hard. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure somebody will be able to find some use for you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And I think I'll just stick quite. I think I just affirm what both of you have said. Like I think I just use 2 minutes to do so. In a sense, I think extending on Nathaniel's point on intellectual curiosity, and it's really important to recognize that isolated genius is very rare, and it's really a lot of people, especially people like you and me, Nathaniel, Reuben, we built on the intellectual of other people. Albert Einstein actually relied on quite some number of friends, and then even Galileo, relied on I think Kepler, some other people, and so it's just so that's how we learn. That's how we can grow our world. And in other words, right, I can even say that it's not about who's the smartest, but who's the most connected. Who's more willing to expand his horizon, and so it's just really like, yeah, it just resonate like when you say that, and personally like after coming out from A levels, I took gap year, and I did internships as well, and going out for that work experience, it gives so much more. Like it gives so much more in a sense where I understand that degree and scholarships, and yes, these are important. I would love to get them, but it brings you to that point. But what comes after it is really depend on you. Depend on you, Wilbur, as well. So that is the part that we really have to think about, and not surprisingly, that is the part where actually the scholarship, the interviewer, they are looking for that as well. So yeah, I just want to encourage the viewers to just really grapple with yourself, grapple with the things in the world, and just be curious. So all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Marcus, before that though, since we have you and you've been asking us questions, I'd like to ask you maybe one question on your experience. Is there a particular reason you picked? You did A levels as well with Westlake, right? And we were really proud of you. You got four A stars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got 4 A stars, and you managed to get into a top university in Singapore, NTU. So we are really proud of you. Maybe you could just share with us your experience in picking A levels with Westlake, and how that helped you to get into a top university as well, like NTU.
I think that I just really appreciate the teachers who have been there, to teach me 4 different subjects, and especially there is also another teacher who helped me a lot with the scholarship application, and I'll give credit to her. She's Miss Anusha, and I'm just really glad that there's role models like this, for me, and I can walk with them, and so it's just something that I really appreciate. And Westlake has given me, I think it's more than academic support, but more importantly, even as an individual, community support, and so yeah, that is one part I'm really thankful to as Westlake, and it's also because that my IG was good enough, and then like my IG O levels was good enough, and I got a scholarship to the governor's A level scholarship to study in A levels in Westlake, and so yeah, yeah, that. I'm
Okay.
answering the question, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. Um, okay. If there's nothing else from Marcus, uh, what I would like to do now is since we are talking about scholarships, I just like to share a little bit about scholarships as well. Let me just put this up and to share with you all that Westlake does have also some really good scholarships for our main school, which is from the secondary school level for the Tan Sri Hugh scholarships, which enables our students who apply to get up to 50% off the term fees. These scholarships, we also have talent scholarships, which is not it's merit based but not academic, more on your sports or your music ability as well. You just have to register to take our entrance assessment, and we will assess you from that as well. I also like to share with you again, just to stress, we do have this Oxford International College. It's a really prestigious institution to do A levels actually, and it's exclusive for our students who go through our IGCSE program as well. And finally, we do have this Governor's A-level scholarship that is still available for our students who have gotten, uh, who have finished their results and gotten their SPM or IGCSE with 9 A's. They are qualified to get up to 100% of their term fees. This is valued at up to 45,000 ringgit. So this is really valuable, and this is purely based on your merit as well. And finally, we do have something that's upcoming that's really exciting that I just like to share with our audience, which is our boot camp, which is from the 13th to 17th of July. This is a great opportunity for students to discover more about themselves, especially through the CAT 4 and Morris B assessment that is conducted during the boot camp. You will be much better prepared to make your decisions and for the courses you applied for at university level as well after going through this boot camp. So I encourage all of you who are interested to have strong ambitions to attend good universities to attend our boot camp. There is a application deadline is on 30th of June, which is coming up very soon. So I hope those of you who are interested, you can click on our contacts, which is going to be right below you. So come, if you're interested, please come and register and or contact us for this. Finally, I would just like to share with you, we have a virtual open day that's coming up on the 11th of July, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. That is 2 Saturdays from now. If you are interested to know more about Westlake International Schools and what we have to offer, this is a great time for you to come and meet with our principals and our teachers to have a personal conversations with them. So that's this last bit is just to promote our school. With that, I want to also just before we go, I want to thank Nat. Thank you very much for your time, for coming over here and helping me out, and also Marcus. Thank you very much for being a great alumni and always being so supportive to us at our events. Yeah.
Just real quick, so I noticed that there's some questions on the Facebook.
Oh, okay. That's another question just before we go. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to extend it too long.
No, 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 no problem, no problem. We're always happy to answer
Some young
questions.
man asked, in terms of developing your knowledge and skills, how big of an impact does your choice of friends have on that process, or is it entirely dependent on you? I know this guy, but yeah, of course, it helps if you mix with people who are also intellectually curious, who also have their own passions. You can learn from them. One of the best things about going to these really good schools is that they're full of other really smart people who know a lot of things, and it's useful to learn things from them lah. Yeah, but of course, I mean, just because there are no, I mean, there are always you should always have a habit that that you can always learn something from people around you, no matter what background, no matter what what their life is like. There's always something useful and interesting. It's never that people are boring. It's only your mind is boring. So if you have an interesting mind, you can find something interesting in everyone. Also, before we go, I now in a climate of things nowadays. Sorry, our panel is not very diverse. It's just 3 Chinese males. So did have a manner. Sorry about that. I forgot to notice it earlier, but I'm sure Westlake as a whole is much more diverse than that. But okay, sorry, just wanted to like jump in those two things. I'm done. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks very much. I've enjoyed myself. Good luck to everybody.
All right. Thank you for your time. Thanks, Marcus.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's so nice being here. All right.
Okay, thank you everyone. Bye
Take
bye.
care. Bye.
Thanks.
Welcome to Westlake International School, where we experience the best in educational excellence, boarding, education, sports, and talents.
The boarding program at Westlake International School provides students a safe and nurturing environment and community within our beautiful campus.
Our full-time boarding parents serve as a mentor, providing the care, support, and supervision that we need to help build good habits. We learn to make wise choices and forge lifelong friendships.
We also receive academic coaching from our teachers. Life as a boarding student truly transforms us to be independent and disciplined.
We experience a holistic education at Westlake through active learning. We enjoy learning about the world around us and how to be a better person.
Westlake International School helps us plan for our future through its career and character education program. At Year 10, we embark on the Duke of Edinburgh program that equips us for university life and beyond.
With a strong emphasis on STEM, Westlake International School gives us the platform to compete at the global level through the Cambridge Science Competition.
We also enjoy learning coding, 3D animation, and robotics.
We aspire to excel at IGCSE and A-level in the footsteps of those who graduated before us, winning the IGCSE Top in the World Awards and studying at the prestigious universities in the UK, Singapore, and Australia.
Nothing beats doing sports under the blue sky with majestic mountains as a backdrop. Starting the week with sports really makes school exciting for us. Not only is this fun, but also helps build our confidence, perseverance, and teamwork skills.
We have amazing sports facilities where friends of different age groups participate in a variety of sports and engage in over 20 different activities.
Besides sports, we are also encouraged to discover our hidden talents through a variety of co-curriculum activities and competitions.
From performing in the WOW, Wind Orchestra, Westlake, presenting at the Gavel Club, and participating in different camps, we are really fortunate to have so many opportunities to showcase our talents.
Boarding, education, sports, and talents make up the best experience. We are thankful to Westlake, where we are transformed to be the best version of ourselves. So, come and sign up for our best trials to experience the best at Westlake International School.